Hello artists, today we are going to be doing a patchwork portrait in an abstract style, and we will be copying or reproducing the style of a Jewish Canadian artist called Sandra Sabertswig. Now, the thing to remember about her is she liked to use very bold, bright colors, and very often she used analogous colors. Now, if we look at a color wheel, and I don't have one here, but I do have a set of pencil crayons, what I want you to notice is when we have colors that sit next to each other in the color wheel, or I have them set up here in my pencil crayons. So if we have a gradient of different greens sitting next to yellow, this would be, in our color wheel, this would be the analogous colors. So they sit next to each other. If we're looking at a simple color wheel, we'd have yellow, orange, and red. Those three colors are analogous because they're in the same color family and they blend very well together. When we have a lot of different colors and we have more tertiary colors, that would mean primary and secondary colors combined to make different variations of green or the different colors we're talking about. That would be the analogous colors we are going to be blending with our portrait. Now, the first thing to do is we are going to need paper, pencil crayons, cookies, and a dark marker. We will start with making a square in our A4 page. Not too big, not too small, but we want that square shape, and we're going to leave white around our square so that we have a border. Then remember, we're going to start with the shape, a semicircle, and your neck straight down. Because it is stylized, we're doing a smaller neck than we would usually have in real life. We're then going to use that L-shaped nose that I usually hate, but this is Sandra Silverwig's type of art. And then we're going to include those eyes. Nice big eyes, droopy eyelid. You can even copy the shape of that eye for a pattern on top. You don't have to do the eye in the same place, so you can do an eye lower or higher, but do try and keep them similar sizes. And then those lips. Once you have your elements, you can then include a little circular cheek, and again, they don't have to be symmetrical. And then we're going to chop up different sections for our patchwork look. Don't do too many because we don't want to have to color in too many sections, but a few so you have a good look. Okay, and then we're going to outline with a marker. Okay, you will then erase your pencil lines. Make sure when you have used pencil that you press very lightly so that when you do erase, you don't see those ugly marks. So I'm going to erase all of them. And make sure your eraser is clean when you're working with that. Okay. Then we are going to move on to our pencil crayons. Now, I did talk about analogous colors earlier, and I want you to make sure that you know what colors blend into each other. So if you do have pencil crayons, I would set them up in order of the way that they would blend. So red into orange, into yellow, and then fading into different greens. And green and blue could also blend into each other. So once you have your colors set up and you know how you're wanting to blend them, we are then going to color in with our analogous colors, blending them in different sections within our face. One thing to remember is maybe to do your two side areas first so that you don't repeat the same colors along the edges of the face and in the neck. So for example, if I'm doing this section over here, purple, I can't have purple touching purple or any variations of that purple. So I would make sure no purple sitting next to it, but you can have purple within your face if it doesn't touch the edge. Another tip when you're coloring in and you don't want to go off the edge is if you put your finger at that edge, you are blocking yourself going off the edge. And when you are shading colors into each other, you don't want to have a line where each color ends. So you need to blend over each color to make sure that there's no defined line between each gradient that you are producing. So you just have to lightly go over each color, making sure that you are blending properly. And that is how I've blended mine. So lightly going over each color, bringing the different gradients on top of each other. And you can go darker where you have that main color, and then lighter where you are blending over it. So you don't want those harsh lines. So you can see over there with my purple, I've got quite a harsh line. I'm going to lightly blend it out into the rest of my area so that I don't have a solid line. Okay, once you have colored in all your different sections, I would advise actually going back if you've got very like scratchy looking work and taking the lighter of your colors and going over it. So for example, in my section over here, I might take yellow and blend it a bit more so I don't have those scratchy lines all over. So you want quite solid colors, but blended colored colors as well. And then we're going to move on to the next section. The next section that you'll be doing is adding patterns within your artwork. Now, you can do that with pencil crayons. You might have different colored pens, milky pens you could use as well. And what we are going to do, I have some Posca markers and Kokies and different pens here. We are going to add little short dash lines into our work to make it more interesting. Girls, an alternative to this project is if you have pastels at home, you could do all your line work after you've done your Koki outlines, and you can do all your lines, dots, and little dash lines first in pastel, and then you can take watercolor and do watercolor washes over each area if you have paint. So that is an alternative for this project.